Caffeinated conversations with Brooke Allen.
Well, good morning. Thank you for joining us. This is Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen, Season 2, Episode 16. Thank you so much for being with us on this Monday, of course. Midwinter break is over, and as I like to say, everyone is back in their assigned seating, and that means my 13-year-old twins are back where they need to be, and that makes me happy. I am not ashamed to admit that. So this is very exciting. A name that I have often heard in the industry but have never met. Robin Kinney is here from Audio Engineers of Detroit. And Robin, you have some very exciting news. Your husband was supposed to be here. He was not able to make it. Mark, right?
Mike.
Mike. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We had to divide and conquer today.
Right. Okay, so divide and conquer, but very exciting what you guys are doing. And it includes Ferris State University.
Yes. We actually have an open house coming up on March 3rd, and I'm here to talk about our new collaboration with Ferris State that we're really excited about.
Okay, so this involves working with you and also getting credit.
Yes.
Yeah, that is pretty amazing.
Yes, we're very excited about it.
Okay, so tell me, first of all, how this all came to be.
Well, about a year ago, I was attending a broadcast engineering conference. I serve on the board for the Michigan Association of Broadcasters. And every year they have a conference for broadcast engineers. So I was there and I attended a panel where a representative from Ferris State, Glenn Okanowski, was talking about how they have their program, but they were looking to expand it and they wanted to reach more students. And with my background, I know that there's such a need for broadcast engineers. We get calls all the time from TV and radio stations looking for broadcast engineers. And currently, our curriculum at that time was just focused on audio engineering.
Okay.
But at this broadcast engineering conference, the little light bulb on top of my head went up and said, we can expand our curriculum with just adding a few more classes, and we can address this need in the industry and also serve the residents of Detroit.
Oh, see, you were thinking.
Thinking.
You were thinking. Okay, so this was a year ago, you said.
Yes.
Okay, so now it's finally coming to fruition.
It took a year for us to go through our curriculum, see where the gaps were, what classes we needed to add in order to address the broadcast engineering curriculum needs, but also working with Ferris, making sure that the classes and the curriculum that we currently had aligned with their curriculum so that students could start with Audio Engineers of Detroit, but then transfer those credits to Ferris State and end up getting a bachelor's degree.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so you are having this open house.
Yes.
That is March 3rd?
That is March 3rd, Monday,
Okay.
March 3rd, 5 to 8:30 p.m.
Okay, so who is this open house for?
This open house is for anyone who may have an interest in audio or broadcast engineering. All ages. We work with a lot of non-traditional students, and because of that, most of our classes are either in the afternoon or in the evening.
Love that, right?
Yep, we meet twice a week, and it's for someone that may already be in the industry but want to expand, maybe want to go into business for themselves, don't know how to do that. They want to go on tour. They want to work at a concert venue.
Oh, okay.
So it's about career expansion as well.
Okay, so, it's funny because in broadcast, there's no shortage of talent, right? I mean, everyone wants to be on air, but it's behind the scenes where people are really needed, like you said, and this is what fills that need.
Yep, you hit the nail right on the head, Brooke. When we go out and we're meeting with TV and radio station people, and they're asking us, do you have someone who you could recommend? We have these openings. And at the time, we didn't, but now we've created the pipeline so that we can address those needs because the career and the industry is going to further expand.
Right.
With digital media, there's always an audio component. There's always a broadcast component as our industry goes global. And, those jobs are there, and we want to make sure that our students can get those jobs.
Okay, so let's talk about the digital aspect because obviously, I anchored at WWJ for years, right? And now in this digital platform, and it's so different for me because you don't have those big call letters behind you anymore, right? So that's something that I have had to adjust to. But for engineers, it's a whole big adjustment.
It's a huge adjustment. And one thing that we found is that our students, when they go through our classes, they go through the entire year, they now have to make the decision of, what do I want to do? Do I want to work somewhere stationary? Do I want to go into business for myself? Do I want to go on tour? And, when we first opened our doors in July of 2021, that first group of students who went through and graduated the following year, their first job out of graduation was working on the Beyonce tour.
Really?
At Ford Field. And that was because of not only the relationships that my partner, Mike Kinney, has in the industry, but it was because they had the skill, they had the knowledge, they had the passion. So although that was a long day, it was the most.
It was totally worth it.
It was
right?
totally worth it, because it's the next day we're updating those resumes.
Yeah.
So now they can do whatever they want to do.
So for you as a business owner, to see this all come, to happen, how does that make you feel?
So blessed, like speechless about it, because this started off with a vision that my partner and husband, Mike Kinney, had many, many moons ago. And my background is in business development. So for 20 years, I was helping other people start their own businesses and had never thought about
starting your own.
Not at all.
Okay.
I really enjoy seeing other people follow their dreams. But it wasn't until I was pregnant with my third child, and I knew that if I wanted to be the type of mother and be present, a 9 to 5, it just wasn't aligning. And so we stepped out on faith, and I've been working in the business full time for 8 years now. I still do some consulting on the side. But it's amazing how that one vision with hard work, dedication, and persistence can come to fruition.
And, it's funny you said that because, you love, I love being in broadcasting, right? I loved it. I still know the clock at Jay, right? I'm like, oh, do you want traffic and weather on the 8th? Okay, I can do that. What's the forecast, But the whole idea of my twins were just going into middle school. And it was kind of that decision of, okay, are they going to need me? I know middle school's like hell, right? To put it mildly. And so it was kind of making that decision to step out on faith and be like, okay, you know what? We're just doing this.
We're just doing it.
We're just doing it. And they always say, if you don't take the chance, you'll never know.
You never know.
Right? So
yeah. And it's a process. I don't want to sugarcoat it, but I think for us, what has been the foundation for our success has been not only our faith, but also relationships. When people talk about starting a business, they're talking about, the business plan and the financials.
What is that?
All that stuff. It's important, of course.
Right.
But it's the relationships that you cultivate along the journey. There were times where it was a phone call to get a resource that we needed. But that was those were relationships that we had built for over 20 years. And so when we started a business ourselves, it was relatively easy to know where to go to get the help we needed.
Well, so it's funny you said that too, right? Because when I first announced this whole, this show, and it was like, how am I ever going to get any guests? But because I developed relationships with my PR people and through all my years, I've never been in a bind for guests, except for today. Today I'm in a bind. No, I'm just kidding. But the whole idea of, relationships are a huge part of business.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't take that into account.
No, they don't. And in one aspect that I try to share with aspiring entrepreneurs is to cultivate a relationship before you need them. The worst thing is to reach out to someone and ask them for something immediately. Yeah,
because then you feel used.
Yeah,
right?
you're like,
Yeah,
okay,
I'm
so
sorry. So
no,
are we
reach
friends or
out
not?
if you're reading something and someone is intriguing or they're in the same line of business. Hey, I saw your article. That's great. And with LinkedIn, it makes
I was
it
just
really
going to ask
easy.
you about LinkedIn.
Oh my gosh, it makes it really easy to just 2-3 sentence note. I don't need it. I don't want anything.
Just
I don't
saying
want you to
hi.
I'm just saying hi.
Just saying hi.
And people will remember that.
Right. Okay, so what do you say to somebody who may be on the fence about starting this course?
Oh my gosh. Well, of course, come to the open house.
Do they have to register? Or?
They do have to register,
Okay.
and you can go to aedetroit.com to register, free registration. It's going to be a fun time because not only will you be getting a tour of the studio, we're going to have our instructors there. There's going to be some artists there testing out the equipment. So we wanted to make it fun and lively. There's, of course. I said 5 to 8 is dinner time.
It is dinner time,
So,
right?
there's food, but we really want people to just experience the studio because it is an experience. It's not a traditional classroom setting. You have a full drum kit set up.
That's awesome.
It's just always a fun time. So if that's something that you're passionate about and you're not sure what the first step should be, just come to the open house on March 3rd.
Okay, so another avenue. I mean, you guys are a full-blown studio,
We are.
right? So you do, you have a lot of services that you do.
We do. We range from podcasts. We do a lot of audiobooks.
See, I love that.
I love audiobooks.
Yeah.
So I tell people it is, such a pleasure to get to see the production of audiobooks because I enjoy listening to them. But when we opened up our doors, we initially thought that we would do a ton of music and that would be the majority of our majority of our services. But no, although we do music, we do like voiceovers for commercials. We do overdubbing for films. And one of my favorite projects was when the Van Gogh in Detroit exhibit came to the DIA.
Yeah.
We did the audio for it. So when
Did
you
you
go to the
really?
museum, you put the headphones
Yes,
on.
that was you
That
guys.
was recorded
That
at
is
Audio Engineers of
awesome.
Detroit. So we had the producer was patched in from New York, and we had the talent in the studio. So we do a lot of different things. So I tell people we do all things audio.
Okay, so all things audio, visual, anything?
We do some visual.
visual. Okay.
But normally, if there's a visual component, we have some contractors that can come in
Okay.
and provide those services.
It's so funny being in this business for years. Everyone is always like, how do you get into audiobooks? It's a very closed industry, it seems.
If you would like to get into audiobooks, well, first decide what aspect of it. Like, do you want to be the voiceover artist? And we've done some workshops with voiceover artists on how to get into it.
That's very cool.
Normally, when we're working with directly with publishing houses.
Okay.
So publishing house will contact us and say, we have this audiobook. The author will be reading. That person will be in town this week or something.
So
to
then
that
they come to
effect.
you
Then they
guys.
come to us.
Okay.
We patch in the producer to give direction. So we have like a screen set up.
Right.
So the producer can give direction to the talent. But if you're really interested in being the voiceover artist for an audiobook, the first thing I would recommend is to attend events, network with other voiceover artists and start working on your demo reel.
Right.
So that's probably the number one, request that we get.
Do you guys do demo reels?
We can.
You can. Okay. So
We can do
people
all
who are
things audio.
All right. So people who are interested can reach out to you for so many things.
So many
Many
things.
things.
Yes.
Okay. So what is the website?
The website, again, is aedetroit.com.
Okay. So open house, they can register.
They can register on the website. The open house is on March 3rd, 5 to 8:30 p.m. It's going to be a fun time. You'll get a chance to tour the studio, meet the instructors, test out some of the equipment. One of the pieces of equipment that we're most proud of was actually made in the UK. It's a Neve, and it was made for us for this space.
Really?
Shipped to us. This is all during the pandemic, seeing it inch across the ocean,
Tracking it
to
like-
get to us. But we wanted to make sure that our students had the best of the best. So when you come to the open house, you'll be able to see that.
That is amazing. And if you had one word to describe somebody who may be the most fantastic audio engineer, what would it be?
A word to describe a fantastic audio engineer. A fantastic audio engineer has not only done the work in the industry and knowledge of the industry, but also has a high capability of listening, and then having a bedside manner, because And a lot of times when you're interacting with someone on audio, you need to be able to bring certain things out of them, especially if it's an audio book.
Don't be mean.
Don't be mean. I say all that to say, don't be mean. Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank
What
you
a
so much
pleasure
for
to
having
meet
me,
you.
Brooke.
So I've heard about you guys for years. So
Oh,
it's
wonderful.
it's a pleasure to finally meet you. And I hope that open house is successful. Do you anticipate another? I mean, this is just the first of many, I imagine.
This is the first open house for our spring semester. So our spring semester will be starting in March after the open house. We have summer camps for youth. We
Oh, do you
summer
really?
camps for middle and high school students.
Okay. All right. Well, then
Yeah.
you're going to come back because
Okay.
summer camps are super important to me.
Yes, and this is a time for summer camps.
is.
Like I have 3 kids, and so I was looking at summer camps like last night.
Yep.
Because they're so
And
competitive.
they'll get booked.
They get booked.
Yes, and then
quickly.
you're like, what do I do with them now? You're like, I guess you're hanging out at the park all day. Here's your
Right.
lunch.
Right. And the summer camps came about just from demand. Just
Okay.
parents calling.
Right.
Hey, my kid's in the basement working on this machine. I don't know what
Don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do.
Right.
You know. So yeah.
Okay, so real quick, when do those start? You've piqued my
We
interest.
haven't put together the schedule just yet, but
Okay.
normally we do one in July.
Okay.
Usually we do one in July. We can always add classes, but we typically do a full week in July.
Okay, well then I'm adding you to my summer camper list.
Okay. All righty.
Thank you so much, Robin.
Thanks for having me, Brooke.
And again, that is Robin Kinney. And of course, we always have community partners and Friends for Animals in Metro Detroit. Corey Keller, they were our community partner last month. And, they brought on, I've never had a dog as a guest, but Tatiana was here and it was the funniest thing. I will say it repeatedly. She just sat in the chair for 45 minutes.
Wow.
It was amazing. She sat in the chair, tried to drink my coffee once, but she was so calm and so sweet. She is still up for adoption, last I checked. But they have so many other lovely animals. But Corey kind of sits down and explains what they do with their foster program.
Okay, so
Let's
this
watch.
is Shashido.
Yes.
Okay, and I've just met him, as you see. Nice to meet you, Shashido. So he is just one of the many animals that are up for adoption.
So he is going to be going up for adoption. He's getting sterilized, so he's going to go to surgery. But yeah, he's one of the stray animals that we see in our community every single year. No microchip. So, which is really hard if if an owner was looking for him because we can't scan him and then
Right,
try to
there's
get
no
him
way.
back. Exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about how important microchips are. I mean, you kind of just said it.
Yeah, it's super important. Certainly dog licenses are important as well because it's been documented in the community that you live in. But microchips are basically like the size of a grain of rice, and they actually get embedded. They go in like a vaccine and between the shoulder blades of an animal, and this way they can't fall off or anything like that.
And
right?
they don't hurt them.
And they don't hurt
They
them.
don't hurt them. It's only for good, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's only for good, buddy,
Exactly.
huh? Okay, so once he has his surgery,
Yep.
and then he'll be up for what's the
Correct.
time frame?
So, I believe he's going to have surgery. Today's Tuesday, probably Thursday of this week. He'll go up for adoption probably this weekend.
Oh, you will be nice and spiffy.
Yep.
Okay, and the website where people can find out more information?
MetroDetroitAnimals.org.
All right, thanks, Corey. Thanks, Shashido.
Again, that was Corey Keller from Friends for Animals in Metro Detroit. Well, every month here at Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen, we highlight a nonprofit. We refer to that as our caffeinated act of kindness. And this month it has been Samaritas. And Opal May is here, and she is the Senior Director of Corporate and Community Engagement for Samaritas. And Opal, we were talking before the show started, and you guys have kind of revamped how you're doing your fundraisers, and galas are no more with you, right?
That's correct, Brooke. So, yes, this year we are embarking on a new direction for our corporate partners, and we really wanted the opportunity to go deeper with them, to give them a little bit more access to the things that we do to serve the community, but also an opportunity for us to get to know them better and to really collaborate on a different level and to take that throughout the whole year. Right, so when you have a gala, you're really engaging with them that one night.
Yep.
Right, so we want to make sure that we build a stronger partnership with the companies that want to help us serve the people of Michigan.
Well, so it's similar to what Robin just said about relationships, right? So that seems like what Samaritas is doing is really just going out in the community and building these relationships that will last, as opposed to the one night where you're having fun and dressed up and you make money, but it doesn't really delve into the deeper cause.
Yeah, that's true. So For our corporate partners, if a corporation is very interested in, say, our child and family services area, we have a teen conference that's been happening for 20 years. This year is 20 years. And we're going to be building some programming around that where we can bring thought leadership together and really try to tackle some of the issues and concerns that are in that area of business. And so highlighting them in that respect. And also, because that conference pulls together about 250 young people in foster care every year, we want to give them an opportunity to impact those youth. So as you build that type of synergy with corporate partners, they can feel the difference that their support gives.
So for anyone who's not familiar with Samaritas, tell me what you guys do.
So Samaritas has 4 core areas of impact, and one of them being affordable housing. We also do child and family services. We're the largest refugee resettlement agency in the state, and we also do mental health and substance use disorder.
Okay, and the foster, you mentioned the young youth and the idea that these corporate partners get to really kind of know what's going on in that community, right? That's important to you guys.
It's very important. It's very important. I think that when corporations can really see their impact, then the relationship grows, right? Of course, we need funding, but we also need to show them how the funding's being used, who they impact. And that's just one of the ways in which we can do that successfully.
And you're all throughout Michigan.
We are all throughout Michigan. We cover the entire Lower Peninsula. We span about 60 sites across the area where we do direct service, and we impact about 38,000 people a year.
So how does somebody come to you as far as if they need help, or in those 4 pillars you mentioned, how does somebody reach out, or how do you know when they need help?
So people can actually reach out on our website, for one, which is samaritas.org. But a lot of those programmings, Brooke, they are state funded. So a lot of the people that we serve come through our programs in that area.
So kind of referred?
Kind of referred,
Okay.
yes.
And what about volunteers? I know that throughout these last couple years, especially during the pandemic, right, all these nonprofits really suffered with volunteers and people not wanting to go out. And how are you guys as far as volunteers and people donating their time?
So we have a couple of things that we're doing on that front. Last year, we had a lot of impact with volunteers, but we're moving in a slightly different direction where we're doing a lot of drives. And so a lot of our programs need care kits, right? So anything from hygiene care kits to setting up household care kits to kids that are in our mental health and substance use that need trauma or are going through trauma, we do kits for them as well. So if anyone's interested in something like that, they can reach out through our website and we can connect them with the programs. And those things really, really impact the people that we serve. We also have opportunities where individuals can donate their time. And then we also just embarked on Christmas Wish, where a lot of our youth in foster care and some of our other areas, we provide Christmas gifts to them. And so there's a lot of opportunity to volunteer.
And it's funny, so we just came off the holidays really, right? But
Yes.
the cycle starts almost immediately again.
Oh, it does.
Because the need is so great.
The need is always very great. I mean, right now we're embarking on Easter. Then you're going to have, kids in school, and it's just a lot of opportunity.
Okay, so what about, it's all about corporate funding and help from the corporate partners. What if a company wanted to reach out to you?
Well, a company, they could just go straight to our website, samaritas.org, and just fill out the contact form and state that you want to talk to someone about corporate partnerships. I would be happy to talk to anyone about that, because I really believe that it's a two-way street, right? So we can offer companies an opportunity to help impact their CSR goals with the things that we do, and then they can help us to impact more people that need help across our state.
So when corporate, you see these big corporations get involved, and it's like, oh, just write the check and we're good. They're fulfilling their obligation. But then do you ever see the people of the corporations actually become more involved, like more so than they need to? Because your mission really speaks to them.
So if I'm understanding correctly, I would love to see them become more involved. That's the reason for the new direction. Because originally we would only really see them at galas.
Okay.
And so we want to have touch points throughout the year that are impactful. We also want to be able to give them brand visibility to align with our mission and the things that's important to them as well. We're embarking on our first corporate breakfast, which is going to be May 15th, which I'm really, really excited about because it is going to bring together thought leaders in the core areas that we support, but it's really going to be focused around how Samaritas, how our programming really tackles social determinants of health and how that benefits corporations and their employee base. And so really looking for the synergies between what we do as a core business as far as nonprofit work, but how that really benefits corporations and how it can help their workforce be more productive and engaged in community efforts.
Okay, so that is in May.
It is in May. It's May 15th.
Okay. And open registration, or what, are tickets available yet or no?
Okay, so it's actually a free event for people to attend.
I'm there. I'm all about breakfast. Is there coffee?
There's actually not a cost. We do highlight our corporate partners for that, the ones who have already been partnering with us and have agreed to support us financially for that year. But we're also looking for other companies. The goal is to bring new companies into this space so they can learn about us, that they can see and understand the importance of supporting an organization like ours and how it's reciprocated and how we can collaborate. So it's not about just getting the checkbook. We really want companies to understand how our business model and what we do to support this community, how that affects their business, because there is synergy there.
For sure, right? And you
Yes.
mentioned the word collaboration.
Yes.
And we've really seen that kind of evolve over the years.
Yes.
Right?
for
Because
sure.
before it used to be kind of competition, and now it's like, oh, you're not doing a collaboration? You need to do a collaboration.
You need to do
right? I mean, really, just
Definitely.
because it makes a difference. And
It
what you just
does.
said, you said synergy.
And there's so much synergy out there for people to realize, right? And that's why we want to bring them together. So if there are companies out there that are interested, they want to learn more and they want to be invited, they can simply also go to the website, samaritas.org, fill out the information form, and that information will come to me because I'd be happy to have them come and attend. It will be at the Detroit Athletic Club, too. So it's
The
space-
DAC. We love that.
The DAC. So it's the space where a lot of corporations are anyway.
Right.
But yeah, our work is very impactful, and we really need the corporate community to help us do what we do.
Well, thank you so much. And you'll be getting my email later today.
We'll
be like-
put you on the
She'll
list
be
for
like,
sure.
oh, that Brooke Allen, just going
No.
into the DAC.
We would love to have you.
Well,
We would
thank
love
you
to
so
have
much.
you.
Okay, so people want to just donate their time, their finances. They can just go to the website.
They can just go to the website. Yes, samaritas.org.
Okay, thank you so much. And you know what, honestly, I'm thrilled that you guys, were our Caffeinated Act of Kindness this month. I
Yes.
appreciate it. So thank you so much for making the time.
No, thank you. Thank you for having us and allowing us to share.
Oh, no,
Thank
it's
you.
an important mission. So thank you.
Appreciate it.
And again, this is Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen, Season 2, Episode 16. We are nearing the end of February. Who can believe it? It seems like 2025 is already flying by. In our Halfway to 100 segment, there is help for those caring for loved ones with dementia. And of course, Debbie Bonuni, she has been here before. She is here again from the Dorothy and Peter Brown Jewish Community Adult Day Program. Hi, Debbie.
Brooke.
Thank you for coming back.
Oh, my pleasure every time.
It's so important what you guys do, and you have an event coming up that is for caregivers.
We do. We have an open house on Sunday, March 2nd, and it's for caregivers throughout the community. We are thrilled to have Jim Magee, a PhD, come speak, and he's going to be talking about navigating the journey of dementia.
And he's got a personal connection with this.
Absolutely. So his wife, who unfortunately recently passed, she was diagnosed with early onset. She was about 57 years old, and he took on the role of being her caregiver for the past 17 years. And he's just, when you have the opportunity to speak with him, he's just got a calm demeanor. He has been a huge advocate for people living with dementia and their care partners, and he actually is a founder of Dementia Friendly Saline, which is a program that they've created in the city of Saline to create everyday activities that are sensitive to people living with dementia. So movies, plays,
Wow.
things of that nature, and getting the support that you need to still do those things with your loved ones.
You know, and I know that being a caregiver is hard, right? But when you're caring for somebody with dementia or Alzheimer's, it's a little bit more complicated or a little bit more exhausting from what I've heard, right? Because there's so much that goes into it. And I think that emotions, you know, my grandfather had dementia and it was sad when he didn't remember me,
Absolutely.
right? And so there's that extra layer of emotional stuff if you're personally connected.
Right. So we're finding that with our care partners, there's so many different things that they go through. One is learning to navigate this diagnosis, right? What can you expect? What to look for? How do you know if there's an underlying illness and all of those things? But they're also dealing with the change in the relationship. Their loved one that they're caring for maybe was the primary caregiver in their relationship, whether it was a parent or a spouse.
And now it's reversed,
And now it's
right?
reversed. And that camaraderie can change as well, right? This maybe was your confidant who doesn't recognize you in the same way. And there's a lot to deal with during this progression, this journey. And it's very isolating because people always feel alone. They don't know what to share with others and what not to. And with the Brown program, we really try to create multiple points where people can interact with other care partners so that they realize they're not alone. Their story, though it may be individual, is similar to what other people are going through. And sometimes that helps as well.
Well, and it's support.
It's support.
It's support, right? And that's what you guys are so big on. So this open house that's coming up, who is this geared toward?
So this is geared towards caregivers throughout the community or people who are great advocates of people living with dementia, because that's Jim Angie's specialty.
Okay.
So he's going to talk about the caregiving journey. He's going to talk about how to advocate. We're also, our doors are going to be open. This is at the West Bloomfield location of the Dorothy and Peter Brown Jewish Community Adult Day Program. So we will start with some tours if people want to see what we have available. We'll end with tours. We'll provide an opportunity for people to talk with our social worker if they're interested in the program, or if they're just coming to hear our speaker, that's fine as well. And I do want to point out that we are just so lucky to have people supporting us, and this whole open house series that we're putting together is funded by the Dee Dee and Michael Perlman Caregiver Fund. And just, they always reach out to us and say,
That's awesome.
what do caregivers need? And that's how this open house came about.
That is amazing. And, you know, I think part of the thing with caregivers is what you said. You know, they think that they're alone and they don't always want to share what's going on. They think they need to handle it. And you guys allow them to come together and to kind of get to know one another as a person and a caregiver.
Absolutely. And hopefully we remind them as well that you have to take care of yourself, right? We'll provide you whatever support we can, resources, referrals, and those kinds of things. But the investment that caregivers put into taking care of their family oftentimes takes away from them taking care of themselves. So we have to remind people on a regular basis, you're doing everything you can, you're doing a great job, and how are you feeling? What do you need?
Right.
Who are you talking to? When did you see the doctor last?
Did you miss that dentist appointment?
Absolutely. And the answer is most likely yes.
I was just going to say, right? Because they need to take the time for themselves. What other services do you offer?
So the Brown program is a dementia-specific adult day program. So we have 2 locations, one in West Bloomfield and one in Southfield. It's a partnership between Guess Your Human Services and Jewish Senior Life, and we provide day care Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. And we can flex those times for someone who has, you know, a specific schedule that they need adjusted to. And we provide engaging opportunities from the time the first person arrives until the last one leaves, music, exercise, yoga, brain games. So it is a nonstop day, and each person that attends their own schedule. It's based on what their needs are.
Okay.
So we're there and we're open, but we accommodate each person's needs. And so that's what we provide for participants that are attending that have a diagnosis. And for the family care partners, we provide these open houses, educational opportunities. We do provide what we call a day off for caregivers.
I love that.
where-
Yes. That's the last time we spoke.
Yes, we open on Sundays and we bring in our staff, and so our staff provide a normal Brown Center day full of activities and meal and snack, and then we give in a separate location, we have our caregivers and we give them a day to focus on themselves. We include massage and educational opportunities and meals and just that socialization. So we try to make sure that we're taking care of both the person with the diagnosis as well as their family care partners.
If somebody cannot make it to this open house, is there a way, will it be taped, or is there a way that they can get the resources that will be offered that day?
So I don't think we're going to be able to tape it.
Okay.
I have been working on that. However, we will make sure to get whatever slide deck is used and information, and we'll ask permission from our presenter if we can give out his contact information if people have questions. So for sure, if somebody cannot make it, we will make sure to get them that information, even if it's not through a recording.
Okay, and they can also just reach out in general, right? They need resources.
Absolutely.
You guys have a ton of them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And anything we don't have, we do go looking.
Yes.
So if we can't answer your questions and can't give you the referrals we're looking for, that's not the end of it. We'll keep looking.
And I love that, and I think it's so important. So thank you for coming on and talking about this. It's, again, March
2nd.
Okay.
It's scheduled for 1 p.m., but we are going to start with tours, so we'll probably really kick it off at about 1:15.
Okay.
We will have snacks available. You know, you
We
don't
love
get together
snacks.
without food. And anybody who's interested, if they end up just walking in, that's fine as well, but just so that we know how many are expected, they can either register by calling 248-661-6390. That's extension 1.
Okay.
Or they can email jdorfman, DORFMAN, at jslmi.org.
Okay. And we will, of course, have that information too. But thank you so much, Debbie, for being here. And thank you for everything you do. Because, you know, the Halfway to 100 segment, that is near and dear to my heart. My grandfather, I think I've told you before, he eventually forgot my name. So just started calling me, "Oh, hello, radio girl." It was so sweet.
Beautiful.
I know.
With the same affection and love.
Right? Exactly. So as you mentioned, the relationship may change and things may dim a little bit, but that love is always there. And that's so important for you guys to, you know, thank you for acknowledging that.
Absolutely.
So thank you. That is Debbie Bonuni. And again, register for that open house. And of course, you have heard me talk about this all month long, that I have been, I have joined Row House 13 with Jake. And Jake, thanks so much. You guys are amazing for somebody, and I'm saying this from somebody who is a little bit shy about working out, a little bit, you know, you've heard me say, you know, I've got no rhythm, so let's not talk about that. But you guys play the music loud and you dim the lights, and I'm all about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been great. First off, of course, thank you for coming and trying it
I
out
love
and becoming a member.
Yes,
you know,
I love it
and
so much.
Giving us the opportunity to come on here and kind
Yeah.
of talk about what we do and what we offer.
And, you know, so I go to the Wednesday morning class, which
Yeah.
is women's only at 9:30.
Sure, yeah.
But you have so many other classes. And what's so funny, too, is that you have couples
Yeah.
that actually come and row together. And
Yeah.
they've developed like a little community, too.
Yeah, absolutely. So the guest, the coach you had on last week, one of the classes she teaches, that's happens to be one of the nights where, yeah, we just, you know, wasn't really something we planned.
Right.
Just started having some couples show up. And
Like date night at Row House.
Exactly, yeah. And a couple others joined, and you know, it's great. And you know, I think sometimes they go and do something else afterwards. You know,
Awesome.
but I mean, I think, you know, from my perspective, I think it's great to see people kind of pick up, you know, kind of different healthy habits. You
Yes.
know, I think a lot of times. People think like, oh, the thing you do when you go out with your significant other is like you go out and you eat dinner and you have some drinks and
drinks.
things like that,
Right.
you know? And, you know, and there's nothing wrong with, you know, having an indulgent meal and
Right.
having a few drinks,
Right,
you know?
for sure.
But I think it's also good to, you know, have some balance and, you know, make sure
Building
you're
healthy
doing,
habits together.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I think it's great to have some couples that are doing that together and, you know, building those healthy habits together.
No, it is so awesome. So, okay, so for anyone who doesn't know what Row House is,
Mm-hmm.
it is exactly like it sounds.
Yeah, pretty much, and more.
And more,
really.
for sure, more.
Yeah. So it's a fitness facility. We do group fitness classes kind of centered around these rowing machines.
Mm-hmm.
Indoor rowing, you don't have to worry about falling in the water or wearing a life
Right?
jacket or
Nope,
anything else.
nothing like that.
Definitely not, rowing on the water in February. That's that's not
that's not
something-
happening.
Yeah. But we've got 5 core class types, and each one, you're going to spend some time on a rowing machine. We've got one that is, we call it a full row. So
Okay.
you are pretty much on the rower the whole time. You get off in
Which
the middle
one?
and
So, which one
stretch.
is that one?
That's the full row.
The full row. Okay.
So yeah, there's just like a little bit in the middle where you hop off and do some stretching.
Mm-hmm.
But with the rest of them, you're going to get off for at least one floor block and either work on strength or mobility. Working on the core, which rowing itself will definitely work the core as well.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of options out there, and one of the great things about it is like it's something that you can add to what you're doing now. But really, for a lot of folks, they find kind of everything they need to kind of support the active side of their health journey in Row House.
Yeah.
They can work on building strength. They can work on building flexibility. So yeah, we've literally got membership starting at like 8 years old. He comes in with his mom.
How can you even reach the?
He's he's
he
tall
do
for his
it?
age.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
but yeah, he
Okay.
does it. In fact, I think he did the 10K when we did
Really?
that, about a month or two ago. And then people in their 90s,
Wow.
and folks with all different sorts. We have people who are in perfect physical fitness, but yeah, we have people who have had, hip replacements and knee surgeries and all sorts of things. And, I'm not a doctor. Our coaches,
don't play one on TV?
I don't play one on TV. We have some doctors that work out with us, actually.
Right.
So we always tell folks, talk to your doctor, talk to your physical therapist, but really 9 times out of 10, whoever they talk to is going to say rowing is the perfect workout for you right now.
That is so cool.
And the other great thing about it is that, some folks do have trouble rowing and swing, right?
Let's not talk about that.
But the really cool thing is like everybody can do this workout in the same room together. You can row and swing together.
Or not.
And the person who is in perfect physical fitness and the person who's had, a knee surgery or a hip replacement, you can do it next to each other. You can look the exact same to somebody else, just
Right.
standing there, but you're both getting the workout you need. It's not like
It's all about it. You're kind of doing it. I mean, you're against yourself, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
Right? A little bit.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's effort based. So the way the machines work is, if you're only going to push as hard as you're able to, and the machine kind of responds to that. So if you're, in perfect physical fitness and you're really pushing as hard as you can, you're going to feel that resistance in the chain as you pull back, as you drive back. And yeah, I mean, if you've had some issues or really if you're just, you had the off day, you're having an off day, but you still made it out of the house and got there to
Showing
get a
up,
workout
right?
in. Yeah. Showing up, I've said it a million times. Sometimes the heaviest lift is,
Walking
putting your
through the
shoes on, walking through the door, putting your shoes on to leave the house.
Right. Exactly.
It's not always easy, but
So I think the one thing that we've talked about before is important because the first class I went to, I felt like, oh, I've kicked butt and this was great. And then the next class I went to, I was like, why are my stats so low? And you and Natalie said, well, you were probably actually doing it correctly the second time as opposed to the first time when you're just flailing around.
right.
Right. But your form, I mean, you get to know your form, you get to know what you're doing, and your stats may look different, but you're still getting the workout you need.
Yeah, and you're definitely not the only person who's experienced that. So yeah, with rowing, there is a little bit of a learning curve. It's not like walking on a treadmill or riding a bike. But it's important to do it properly because if you really want to get the full low impact benefits, and it also works 86% of your body. So if you want it to work 86% of your body and you want to make sure you're not getting any impact on the joints, you have to kind of get the technique down. And sometimes for some folks that takes a couple classes, which
You
is
said about 5 or 6, right? Because I'm not there yet. I'm like still not in swing.
right. I mean, yeah, it can take a little bit of time. And sometimes like when you're focusing on that technique, some of those stats, might, at least on paper, look like they're suffering. But yeah, it absolutely means like you're getting more of the workout.
Okay.
And then they'll start to improve.
Well, I told you, I was like, what is happening? I am so sore. But
Right.
it was because I was probably doing it correctly.
Right,
Right?
exactly. And what's great about our workouts is you're going to feel the soreness in your muscles, but not the joints.
Right.
And muscles, when your muscles feel sore, it means that when they come back, they're going to come back stronger. When your joints feel sore, it means they might not come back to where they were last time. You
Right,
know,
right.
And again, that's why it's great for people of all ages, whether again you're 8 years old or you're 90. I mean, when you're 8, you don't want to start damaging your joints right away.
No.
You
want to wait for that.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you talk to people, and I mean, I have a cousin who was a gymnast, and he probably could have gone to the Olympics.
Really?
He was that caliber, but he was training really hard and ended up. I mean, I forget how old he was, but he was very young, and he had to have knee surgery. He had pins and everything. So even for folks, at a young age, like you don't want to kind of ruin your joints that early in life. And again, that's kind of why some people use it as a combination to, somebody like Jacqueline, who was here a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
Going
to Mount Everest.
Exactly. And so it's something big like that. Like, I'm going to go to Mount Everest, so I want to build my leg strength. I want to build my cardio endurance, but I don't want to run every day and have my knees aching when I'm trying to climb Mount Everest, right? I'm getting ready to run a half marathon, but again, like I don't want my ankles to be killing me when I go run.
I'm getting ready to roll out of bed. I don't want to.
Right, exactly. And yeah, it's down to the regular everyday things too. Like I just had a couple cases of water delivered, and I don't want to throw my back out when I pick them up off the porch.
Right.
Right.
Because it all adds, honestly, it's funny because getting there is half the battle, like you have said. But once I'm there, it is amazing. I have such a good time. And I told you before, I'm like, I can't wait. I'm only right now able to go once a week, but I want to go more than that because it's like, what, this is fun. The music is loud, as I've said. The lights are low, so you don't have to worry about being judged. Because that is a factor for people.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It really is. And I go to the all women's class on 9:30 at 9:30 on Wednesdays. But it's just the whole idea of, you're doing something for yourself.
Right.
And you have that time to kind of just disconnect.
Yeah.
Whether it's for the express class or the 45-minute class.
Right.
Right. And it's lovely, honestly. So thank you.
Oh, yeah. It's my pleasure. Yeah. It's funny. Kind of related. You had a guest just on who was talking about caregivers, and we have a couple folks who come, they can only make it once a week. They're caregivers, but for them, like that's the thing they get to do for themselves on a weekly basis. It's good for their body. It's good for their mind. It's fun. They like to go to the Friday night themed classes.
Okay, that's cool.
So they get, a little of a themed playlist every week, and it's just a good time.
Right.
And so, that's what we try to do, like kind of curate a vibe where you're doing something that's good for you and that's fun.
Yep. And it is definitely fun. And the most fun thing about this is that the first class is always free, right?
Correct. First class is always free. So you can come try it out. We've always got specials going on. If you text caffeine to 248-419-1371, we'll cut you a special deal as a viewer of Caffeinated Conversations.
Thank you, Jake.
Allen,
I love that. That is awesome. I have my own coupon code. I love that. That's how you know when you've made it.
Right.
When you have your own coupon code. Okay, so I guess we should say where you're located. You're in Beverly Hills, Michigan.
Yep, Beverly
Right,
Hills.
13?
Yep, 13 Mile in Southfield. It's the northeast corner. There's a strip with a TJ Maxx and
Honey Big Tam.
Penzies and all that stuff. So yeah, we're right over there. Easy to find, and you can go shopping at TJ Maxx. We actually sell some stuff in our lobby as well. We've got some shirts and leggings. And
Yeah, I
stuff.
love that stuff.
Yeah.
I even have a coffee cup, a Row House coffee
Yeah.
cup. I love that. Okay, website.
Website, just therowhouse.com. And then we're the only one in Michigan. But yeah, I mean, you can make sure you're set to 13 Mile as your location. We've got an app as well.
Yeah, the app is awesome, and the playlists are awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. I was tormenting you a couple weeks ago, like, I need that playlist. Give it to me.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, and then you're able to see your stats. I don't quite understand the whole split thing yet. I'm learning that.
Yeah.
But it's just fun to do something different and to have fun doing it.
Great. Yeah.
So thank you.
It's a fun time for sure. Thank you. Thanks
Oh
for
no,
having me.
my pleasure. And we will be checking in with Allison. She's going to be at Mount Everest in April. Jacqueline, sorry.
Yes.
So Jacqueline will be in Mount Everest in April,
Yep.
and we're hopefully going to connect with her somehow because I just think that's so amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
So I'll get to see her a few times again before she goes.
Okay.
I hope. And
Yes.
we'll find a way to kind of follow her on her travels.
Yeah,
and,
it's awesome.
Yeah, maybe she could chat with you when she's back.
I know, right? That'll be awesome.
Maybe she'll bring back some Himalayan coffee.
Ooh, I'm all about that. Thanks,
Yeah.
Jake.
Yeah, sure thing.
All right, thanks. Okay, well, this is the portion of the show where we always do a giveaway. And if you know me, you know that I love theater and always have a Curtains Up segment whenever there's live theater going on. And one of the theaters that I've actually been back on stage with was the Farmington Players. This show that's coming up, I am not a part of because I don't sing and I don't dance. It is Sister Act. And Barbie is here. And you've got, 2 tickets?
I have 2 tickets to Sister Act.
Awesome.
It opens April 24th. and
Okay.
goes through May 18th, April 25th through May 18th. So that's a couple months away, but this does sell out fast.
Yeah, musicals always sell out
Always
fast,
sell out
right?
fast.
Always.
So the winner is here in our studio audience because we have our
awesome.
cards.
All right, let me
Yeah.
see.
And
Are we picking this?
What's that?
Are we picking the winner?
We're picking the winner.
Okay, so 2 tickets.
2 tickets to the Farmington Players Sister Act, which is a musical. Opens up February 25th through May
April?
18th. April. I don't know what I said. Okay, the first one, 4/25 through 5/18.
Mark your calendars, man.
Right,
Mark your
right,
calendars.
Right.
All
And
right.
the costumes, the singing, and the dancing, and the direction is absolutely beautiful already.
Mm-hmm.
And the costumes will be too.
Because you're designing those,
Yes,
aren't you?
they'll be spectacular.
Of course
They've gotten
they will.
ovations before. They'll definitely get them this time.
Awesome.
And then we're getting you in the next musical.
Yeah, absolutely not. That will never happen. All right, we're picking a winner.
Picking a winner. Which one you got?
I'm trying not to be offended by these old maid cards.
But they're fun. Hey, I grew up in a Baptist household. We couldn't have face cards, so old maid's my friend.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Baseball?
Baseball player. Woo!
All right, awesome. Okay, so Allison has won 2 tickets to Sister Act. We don't know when that's opening or when it's closing, but
Yes, we do.
But you have 2 tickets. Just
we
kidding.
know.
I know. As always, thank you so much for being with us on this Monday morning. I know sometimes, especially when it's so cold.
February.
It is so cold. It is sweater weather for sure, right? But thank you all for being here. And, so many important resources and so many important topics. And I just love our caffeinated conversations always. So thank you so much for being with us. And as I always say, keep the coffee hot. We'll see you next week. Bye.